Krishna. Oh. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We're reading together. Thank you. It's so nice just to be with a couple of devotees. It's I'm living in the forest, I don't see anybody. But thank you so much for us being together. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, text number 1. I think there's 18,000 verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm not sure, but that figure. So this is the first verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadi Asya Jato Nabiyaratartasya Arzeshu Avignya Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaja Adakavaye Muyanti Atsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Jata Vinimayo Yatra Tri Sargo Mrisha Damna Swena Saranarasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dimahi. Satyam Param Dimahi, the Supreme Absolute Truth. We meditate on that. Supreme Absolute Truth. Okay. Lots of words. Om, oh my Lord. Maybe so Manjri, is he busy now with the customer?
Sumagira Prabhu,
No.
do you want to read?
No, okay, I can read, but my English is not so good.
That's
No problem.
okay. That's okay. My English is not so good either. No, seriously. So do the word for word. Do the word for word.
Om, O my Lord, Namaha, offering my obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead. Vasudeva, unto Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, the primeval Lord. Janma Adi, creation, sustenance, and destruction. Asya, of the manifested universes. Yataha, from whom? Anvayat, directly. Itarataha, indirectly. Cha, and. Artasu, purposes. Abhajaha, fully cognizant. This is not, now it's better.
No, don't worry. Thank you. Don't worry.
Swarat, fully independent. Tena, imparted. Brahma, the Vedic knowledge. Hrida, consciousness of the heart. Yaha, one who. Adhikavaye, onto, the original created being. Muyanti, are illusion. Yat, about whom. Surayaha, great sages and demigods. Tejaha, fire, Vari, water, Mridam, earth, Yataha, as much as, Vinimayaha, action and reaction, Yatra, whereupon, Trisargaha, three modes of creation,
Hmm.
creative facilities, Amrisha, almost factual,
Hmm.
Damna, along with the all transcendental paraphernalia,
Hmm.
Sena, self-sufficiently, Tada, always, Nirashta, negation by absence, Huka, Uhakam, illusion, Satyam, truth, Param, absolute, Dhimahi, I do meditate upon.
You're right. Balaram
Translation.
Prabhu, would you like to read the verse?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank
O
you.
my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of all the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen in water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of material nature, the three modes of nature, appear factual. Although they are unreal, I therefore meditate upon him. Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
I have a question. It's different in my book.
Yes.
My book says
That's not a surprise.
it says contains the text and art originally published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust in 1970. What does yours say in the beginning?
I don't know because it's on PDF format, this one, but this website is 377 books.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
I mean, can I see, because when did you get that book, Ishan Prabhu?
Oh, I got it from a place called Krishna Store. Maybe you've
Yeah,
heard.
yeah,
And
I know that.
I got it within the last year or so. I bought the set because I had those red books, and there was a whole bunch of there was a lot of dispute that the red books had been re-edited and were not really the original books. And then they came out with this 30 volumes, 30 odd volumes, a set, and I bought it, assuming it was the original.
No,
Okay,
it's the change one. The
mine?
red one? When did you get the red one? Have you still got that red one with you now?
No, I gave them away.
Okay. Is that red one printed by what's his
Yeah,
name? In
that's
China,
right.
in Hong Kong?
I forget who, but I know the man. I mean, I know the name of the man.
Yep.
He was, I think,
Gitarati Prabhu.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Right. So Jitarati Prabhu's Srimad Bhagavatam is much closer to the original than the ones you've got right now.
Really?
On the Krishna store, they said that is original. Is it not?
You know what I have? I'm going to get it. You wait right here. Don't go
Go ahead.
away. Oh,
Which
Now I
Krishna
will.
store? Which Krishna store does he think? Which one is that? Because there's one run by Madhusudan and then one run by ISKCON, right?
The other, the first one, Krishna store dot EU. But if you are in India, this is Krishna
This is
store
a
dot
copy.
IN.
Let's see, where's volume 1? This is a copy of the books that Srila Prabhupada brought from India.
Yes, so that one was the original.
Let's see. First
That's the
canto.
Delhi print. The copy of the Delhi print, right?
13th chapter. Okay. And it's in the kind of language that Srila Prabhupada used before any editing. So let's read from that. Here we are. Yeah.
Is it that one which already was printed before US?
You know, I once had an original set.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did. And I once had an original set of these books
Yeah.
that Srila Prabhupada brought. And Srila Prabhupada wanted some of the boys to go to India to learn to make mridangas. And I did something I should not have done. I sold the set to raise money so I could go to India. And when I came back, I wanted to buy them back from this man. He refused to sell them. But
there you go. I think you got a double bonus. You got the original books and then you also went to serve Prabhupada in India.
so here's the Srila Prabhupada says, okay, here's how he reads. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I do offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I do meditate upon him because he's the absolute truth and is the primeval cause of all causes of this manifested universes in the matter of creation, sustenance, and destruction, directly and indirectly. He's conscious of all different manifestations, but still he's independent of any other cause beyond himself. It is he only who imparted first the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of the original living being, namely Brahmaji, and unto whom even the great sages and demigods become illusion, as much as there's an illusory representation of water in fire or land on water, and so on. It's on account of him only, the temporary manifestation of the material universes made by the reaction of the three modes of nature appear factual, although it's unreal. Amazing, eh? We take it as reality, but it's just a fabrication of mud and water, the whole material world. we think it's real, but it exists, but it's temporary, and then it's gone, just like wiping the table after you cook something in the kitchen. It's gone, the whole mess. So but we're taking it that it's real. We identify with it. It's incredible. I do therefore meditate upon him who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representation of the material world, and is therefore the absolute truth. Okay. So maybe how you say Giri? How you say the name again? I'm going to write it down.
Somagiri.
Somagiri. What do the words mean? Soma, is that a herbal from the higher planets?
That's what I know what Balaram Prabhu said. This is the name of the spiritual master of Bilba Mangal Thakur.
Right, but I was wondering what those words mean.
I don't know the meaning, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm going to try and find out. Somagiri. I know I have one friend, devotee friend in India. He's living in Mayapur now with his family. He's very, very, he's a great scholar. Amazing, amazing fellow. Okay.
Yeah.
Obeisances, purport. Obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva. This directly indicates Lord Sri Krishna. I'll read it, but I might change a few words just to make it more conversational. The fact that this fact, Lord Sri Krishna, the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. That's incredible. You know, I was reading Srila Prabhupada's 10th canto, and he said that Krishna was in the heart of Vasudeva. He makes the point that Krishna, he said, wasn't born by seminal injection in the way people are born in this world. He was in the heart of Vasudeva, and he was transferred from Vasudeva's heart to the heart of Devaki. That's amazing. And and then Srila Prabhupada writes, he said that he initiated Devaki. He gave him that it was, he said, this is the meaning of initiation, that Krishna comes from the heart of someone who has Krishna in his heart and is put into the heart of the disciple. Well, just between us, it means that all these ISKCON gurus are fraudulent. Fraud means it's a scam because they don't have Krishna in their heart. How can they transfer Krishna to the heart of their disciples, their students? They're neophytes like us. We're all neophytes. We're just beginning. We like this Krishna consciousness. It's well, for a person like me, it answers a lot of questions. It makes a very neat package of information to make sense out of the whole world. It's such a disturbing thing to live in this world. Just you're living in
Hungary.
Turkey, yeah, and it's true there were 50,000 people killed in the earthquake recently.
Yep.
Where were you?
I was in here, Marmaris.
And it was a safe place, or you felt the quake?
No, nothing.
Nothing. You missed it.
Yeah, they're pretty far away.
Okay, it wasn't your turn to go. So
I was in Istanbul when more than 50,000 died.
and Hungary also has had so many political. Of course, everybody is being born, then growing up as a child, and then so Magiri, you're 45, 50 years old?
48.
48. That's my guess. Yeah. I will be 80 years old in March.
Wow.
Wow.
We got to
Happy
take you to
birthday.
India. We got to take you to India for your 80th birthday.
So he said, so Srila Prabhupada explains, he says, this is the meaning of initiation, that there's a relationship established between a Mahabhagavat devotee who has Krishna. It's in the 10th canto. He has Krishna in his heart, and he transfers Krishna into the heart of his student, disciple. And this is the meaning of Diksha. Imagine. And so that's incredible. That's why my keep your flash stop. Oh, my wife says I should stop talking conversation and teach the class. She's
No, no, it's going perfect. Victoria, Hare Krishna.
and she can't hear you
Oh, because you
because
got the headphones on.
because I got
Anyway,
the headphones. Balaram says Hare Krishna to you.
can I ask a question? Can we ask actually questions while you're giving the class?
Why not? It's
Okay.
very informal. It's just the three of us. What?
Yes. Okay.
No,
So,
there's only three people. Yeah, we're discussing Krishna
yeah,
consciousness.
great.
She
Fantastic.
wants me to be more formal and just give class. So, but I'm with two really nice. She doesn't want to hear.
Okay.
Okay. What?
So,
Yeah.
we have this words that are just being used that the spiritual master from his heart, because he has Krishna King, is giving Krishna to the heart of a devotee or disciple. But
Yeah.
physically, we already know, we know that Krishna is in the heart already as Paramatma. So then what is here this difference between everybody who already has Krishna in their heart as Paramatma in reality, and then the Diksha Guru giving a second Krishna, or what's that?
Well, it's a very it's a good question, but we're not aware of Paramatma within the heart. Uh, and I think he's giving a realization. I think, and also, of course, Paramatma, I think it has a four-handed form, although he's all pervasive all over the material creation. But Krishna, and it's very interesting because in the Bible says, not a blade of grass moves except by the will of the Lord. That's Paramatma, the all-pervading. And it's such an amazing concept, that, and there are different verses in Bhagavad Gita that says that Krishna, that we shouldn't consider ourselves the doer of activities, that all of our activity is the workings of the material nature, and that Krishna is moving the whole thing as Paramatma, and that we're doing nothing. And Srila Prabhupada explained, we're dancing for Krishna or we're dancing for Maya, but we're always like puppets, depending on, well, that's a very amazing concept. Um, because I feel like I'm doing I feel like I am in, and I want very much to be in control. Every day I want to, if things don't work the way I want, I become, what's a good word for that? A little bit perturbed, a little upset. Why why I'm not in control of this universe, So, but actually, so when Srila Prabhupada wrote a poem when he was arriving in America on the boat Jaladuta, he wrote this, I don't know why you've brought me here, but now make me dance as you like. It's like a pure devotee actually understands that he's Krishna's instrument. And we're all Krishna's instrument under different energies of Krishna, interior and exterior. That I think Saint Francis also has one prayer in the Christian tradition that make me your instrument, use me in a nice way. So that's a very, very amazing. And so, and then in the Bible says, if somebody hits you, you turn the other cheek. That means you hit me on this cheek. Now maybe you want to hit me on this cheek, so you offer the other cheek. And you don't fight with them. Well, that's Trinada pisu nichena terora pisa hishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One can chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer the highest respect to others. Well, that's the same thing. So I read in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the way to have that vision is to understand that we're always dealing with Paramatma in everybody that we interact with. And it's Krishna. That's why we say Prabhu, not because the other person is God, but because God is the mover in everybody. And if one actually contemplates that, if I actually think about it, how can I take offense if somebody doesn't give me honor and respect or treat me the way I want or give me what I want? I say, yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, whatever you want. Here's the other cheek, you can you can hit it. So, but we have to come to that position. This is only verse number 3 in the sixth Shastak, right? He says, "O my Lord, your holy name alone, it can render all benediction upon the living being. And therefore, you have all these names, hundreds and thousands of names like Krishna, Govinda, etc. And in these names, you have put all your energy, and there's no hard and fast rule. You can chant Hare Krishna. You can be in bed. You can be walking into the store. You can be doing your work. You always, there's no, because used to be very, very strict rules for how I read Srila Prabhupada. I'm reading now in the 9th canto that Lord Ramchandra, he was having a great sacrifice. And there are 4 kinds of priests, 4 kinds of Brahmins have to be there. There's one Brahmin, that the pronunciation of the mantras has to be perfect. He's just listening for the pronunciation and the meter of the mantra. It's not just the pronunciation, but also the meter. Everything. They were so powerful, those mantras. They were putting a horse into the fire, and the horse would come out with a new fresh body that was so powerful. And they would light the fire with mantra for the sacrifice. They're Brahmins, so there's no Brahmins like that today, of course. So, but where I was going, I forget where I was going. I go off on a tangent. So let's see. Oh yeah,
Paramatma in the heart.
yeah, right. So, so, so to think, to understand that we're always dealing with Krishna is the basis of becoming. Yeah, and there's no hard and fast rule for chanting these holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. He says, so what's the cure for this no attraction? It's given in the next verse, Trinada P, that if one can, how can one be more humble than a blade of grass? You step on the blade of grass, and then when you take your foot off, the blade of grass comes up again. It doesn't object. It doesn't tell you to go away or not step on it. It accepts your foot on his head. So he said, we should be like that dealing with other people. So he says, if you can be more tolerant than the tree doesn't ask for water. The tree, if people cut the tree branches, it gives fruit to everyone. It never objects. If you cut the tree, it doesn't object. It's more tolerant than the tree, and never wanting to honor or to be respected by anyone. But seeing everyone that God is in, Paramatma is in their heart. And so then turning the other cheek. He says if one can be in that frame of mind, then they can chant all the time. They'll have some taste. So that's the price. We have to pay this price. I have you're present by your name, but have no attraction. But the cure is Trinada B, to be more tolerant than a tree, more tolerant than a blade of grass. So that's very amazing. So I have so long way to go, I can understand. But it's really nice thing to think about. Even to pray that for help. How can I become like this? I don't have this vision. I'm thinking that I'm separate from Krishna, and I'm thinking everyone else is separate from Krishna. And I appreciate people in terms of the way they behave. I think this is a good person, that's a bad person. But actually, everyone is pure spirit soul, being directed by the modes of material nature. Is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as though on a machine made of material energy. That's in Bhagavad Gita. That this body is a machine, and Krishna is the mover of the machine, not just the hardware, even the software. The software is the mind and the intelligence and the false ego Krishna is providing. So this body is like a yantra, machine. And Krishna is moving the machine, and we're inside asleep. And we're thinking that I'm this body, I'm this mind. And Srila Prabhupada said, real Krishna consciousness begins from the platform of liberation where we don't identify with this medium anymore. Amazing. It's something to look forward. So, yeah, okay. So Srila Prabhupada says, Srila Jiva Goswami has still more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. And Brahmaji, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise by the name Brahma Samhita. In the Samaveda Upanishad, it said also that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. And if you want to jump in at any time, don't hesitate. You want to say something or ask something, it's just us three guys. So, therefore, in this prayer of the author, this is a prayer by Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva, he's he is the writer of Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, he's the author of the Vedanta Sutra. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary of Srila Vyasadeva on the Vedanta Sutra. The sutra is an interesting word. Sutra means like a thread, just like you have all these beads on your japa mala, and there's a thread going through them, and the thread holds them together. If the thread wasn't there, the beads would be all over the living room rug or all over your table, or you wouldn't be able to keep them together. But there's a thread, and it keeps them in a line. In the same way, it's a metaphor. That why do they call these Vedic literature sutra? It means it's especially for the like Upanishads or Vedanta Sutra, because they're very, very succinct little statements. And what is the thread? The thread is a thread of understanding in order to make commentary on these separate beads or jewels, separate jewels of statements, jewel-like statements. What is the thread of understanding that joins them all together? Of course, that we understand this is the thread of bhakti yoga. People are making commentary on Bhagavad Gita, has nothing to do with Krishna. They even tried to expel Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita. It's just like Srila Prabhupada was saying in another lecture I was recently hearing, that Gandhi, on the basis of Bhagavad Gita, was making a philosophy. He wrote his own commentary, and his conclusion was nonviolence. But the whole Bhagavad Gita is about getting Krishna to fight. So to have the real understanding of all the verses, which are like beads or jewels on a thread, one has to have the real thread of understanding. And so it's in the same way, Vyasadeva wrote his commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, just like there are different commentaries to Vedanta Sutra. There's the commentary of called Shariraka Bhashya. Shariraka Bhashya. So Bhashya means like a discussion. I don't know what Sharir, but it's by Lord Shiva, who appeared as Shankaracharya. And his commentary on Bhagavad Gita is that the material world is an illusion. It doesn't exist. We say it exists, but it's temporal. But he's teaching that, how does it? Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Mithya means illusion. Jagan means the Jagat, the universe, is an illusion. It doesn't exist. That's their teachings. And all that exists is Brahman. And so they have no family life because it's an illusion. They have no identity because it's an illusion. They have no relationships, and they have no devotional service because there's no individual to do the service, and there's no object of our love and devotion. There's just oneness. It's like no sense of self. And apparently that's the realization of the jnanis, that they can merge into a great light and have no individual sense of self. But there's a kind of a peace, a peacefulness, but they can't maintain it. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam that says they think they're enlightened, but actually they're not enlightened because they can't remain in that enlightened state. But why? Why can't they remain there? Why can't they just be merged into the great light? They can't be remain merged into the great light because the individual spirit soul has a hunger, a desire, a need for what? For love, for the exchange of love. And because that desire is so strong, they can't stay merged in that light. And they come back again. And they become engaged in all kinds of philanthropic activity. They call that they say that they say that actually we're all one. Spirit substance. There's no division. We're just all God. And that so they address everyone as God. And they say that there's God sometimes gets hungry, and has need. He needs new clothing, and he he needs medical care and stuff. They call him Daridra. Daridra Narayan means poor Narayan. The man in the street is God, they say. So, and they devote their life to taking care of the people who haven't not enough to eat, who need medicine, who need education. They open up educational institutions, they open hospitals, they feed the poor. So on the one hand, they say the material world is not even here. It's an illusion. But then they spend their whole life trying to improve the illusion by feeding, which is a complete contradiction in terms, of course. If there's nobody there to feed, but who are they feeding? But they're thinking like that. So, so Srila Vyasadeva, he wrote commentary on Vedanta Sutra because people don't understand the real meaning of Vedanta Sutra, and they're thinking that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, that the material world doesn't really exist. It's just an illusion. So he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, which culminates in the 10th canto, which describes the nature of the absolute truth, not as an illusion, but as a fact. That what is the nature of God, and to understand the nature of his name, his fame, his form, his pastimes, his entourage, his paraphernalia, everything, and the different ways that individual spirit souls can have relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world, that Krishna came to Vrindavan some 5,000 years ago, just simply to show us what is life like in the spiritual world. And what are the different ways in which devotees love Krishna? Okay, but if it's presented as a sutra, the Upanishads, there are some 108 principal Upanishads, there might be more. They're all sutras. They're very, very succinct philosophical statements. Just like Srila Prabhupada gives us Ishopanishad. If we didn't have Srila Prabhupada's commentary on Ishopanishad, we wouldn't have no idea. But it could be people could make commentary on it. There's only some 18 verses, and they would try to prove that the material world is false and we're all God. And they would do that, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Brahmano hi pratishtaham, that this great light, white light that the people want to merge into, he said, this light is coming from me. They don't know what to do with that verse, the impersonalists who make commentary on Bhagavad Gita. They want to say that Krishna is coming from the light, and that we're all coming from the light, and therefore we're just like Krishna. There's no need to worship Krishna. We are Krishna. That's what they like to think. So, but Krishna says, no, we're not. Krishna doesn't say I'm coming from the light. He says, no, the light is coming from me. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. So, therefore, we need commentary on these sutras. In other words, what is the real thread of understanding that brings all these Vedic mantras, Vedic verses, the Sanskrit verses, brings them into focus so we can understand what it's all about. So Srila Vyasadeva made his own commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. And that's Srimad Bhagavatam, culminating. And even he didn't immediately sit down and write Krishna book. He made 9 cantos of information before he even began to speak about 10th canto, Krishna's appearance and activities. To be sure that we understand what is the nature of the absolute truth. Okay, so we were reading that. Feel free to jump in, feel free to make comment, feel free to ask anything. So, therefore, in this prayer, the author, Srila Vyasadeva, the first proposition is that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord. And if any transcendental nomenclature, if any transcendental name has to be understood of the absolute personality of Godhead. It must be the name as indicated by the word Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. In the Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord has affirmed himself as the original personality of Godhead. What does he say? Mata parataram nanyat. There's no truth higher than me. In so many ways, Krishna explains that he's in charge of the whole material creation and that we can get out of the material creation by worshiping him and no longer have to revolve in the cycle of birth and death. He said, you take up this bhakti yoga, you can come to me. He says, yoginam api sarvisham, of all the yogis and all kinds of yogis. There's so many kinds of yoga. What does yoga mean? Yoga means connecting with the absolute truth. Link, to link. That's the meaning of the Sanskrit word yoga, to connect. Oh, we have links on the web, don't we? And they're so it's in the, but there are different places to go with those links. You can go to different websites. So there's different kinds of links. And there are different kinds of destinations in the spiritual dimension as well. And there are different links to those dimensions. But ultimately, all of them must culminate in bhakti yoga, in bhakti, in love. Just like Krishna says, yoginam api sarvisham. End of the 6, I think it's 647. But it says, of all kinds of yogis, yoginam api sarvisham. Sarva means all. It's saying there's so many kinds of yogis. Arjuna says he can't do this yoga system. He says Krishna is telling him to go, that he has to sit in the jungle or in the forest and hold his body very erect and stare at the tip of his nose. And Arjuna said, not on a deer skin, and he not too high, not too low, and he has to meditate. Arjuna says, I can't do this. He says, I'm a kshatriya, I'm a warrior. He says, to control my mind is more difficult than to control the wind. You know, he says, but so Krishna's, after explaining yoga, he says, of all the different kinds of yoga and of all the different kinds of yogis, yoginam api sarvisham, sarva, of all kinds of yogis, mad gatena, the word gati means the goal. How? That one who makes me the goal. How? Antaratmana, mad gatena antarat. Atmana means within the core of the heart, antaratmana. How? Shraddhavan, with great faith, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. That bhaja, meaning that he worships me within the core of his heart with great faith, making me the goal. He is the topmost yogi. But they're saying, just like Krishna says, I'm going to give you the highest knowledge. That there's so much knowledge, but it's just like he said, Bahanam Janmanamante. After many, 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 many births of trying to figure things out, what they call by intellectual conceptualism, what is the absolute truth? What is not the absolute truth? Making these discriminations. He says, after many, many births, bahunam janmanam ante, after ante, bahun, janmanam, birth, after many, many births, Gyanavan, one who really has some understanding, as who's really what bahunam janmanam ante Gyanavam mam prapadyate, one who knows the truth. He understands Vasudeva Sarvamiti, that Krishna, Vasudeva, Sarvam, all, that he's the sum and substance of everything. Everything is Krishna and Krishna's energy. Vasudeva, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Mam Prapadya, he surrenders to me. He surrenders to me, Krishna says. So they say, no, you don't surrender. Then he says, tells you how. How? Oh, he says, this is, you want knowledge? He says, this is Raja Vidya. This is the biggest knowledge. It's the king, Raja. Vidya is knowledge, and Raja means king. He says, this is the king of knowledge, Raja Goyam. It's the king, Goyam, confidential knowledge, confidential information. You ask somebody for information, he says, oh, I can't give you that. It's classified. It's government information. You can't reveal that. It's the most confidential knowledge. He says, this is the most confidential knowledge. All that classified government information is garbage. But real confidential knowledge is this bhakti yoga. Raja Vidya, the king of knowledge, the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. Raja Goyam Pavitram is the purest knowledge. Uttamam, the highest knowledge. Pratyaksha, Vagamam Dharma. Pratyaksha, it's going to give you direct experience of yourself, that you're not this body, but you're pure spirit, spiritual energy. Shushukam, Kartam, Avyayam, eternal, Avyayam, Kartam. There are activities in this knowledge. Not that you do nothing, not that you become nothing, but you begin to act, really to get involved, to engage, and it's very happy. Shushukam, it's joyfully performed knowledge. So he says, what's that knowledge? He says, Manmanab, that's the first verse in the chapter 9 of Bhagavad. What's the last verse? Manmanab 934. Manmanab bhavamad bhakto. You just always think of me, you become my devotee. You worship me, you bow down to me, and you'll come to me. So they're saying, no, we don't come to, you don't go to God. You don't have to worship God. They're commenting on Bhagavad Gita and they're contradicting Krishna's words. They're commenting on Bhagavad Gita and they're saying that you are God and, and that you should merge into this big light. I heard of this morning. I turn on my CD player when I go to take shower in the morning while I'm shaving, brushing my teeth. So Krishna says, they're liars. He said, he called them all liars. He said, they're not telling the truth. They're making up their own story. They have their own ideas and they're trying to put words in Krishna's mouth. And they're trying to explain through Bhagavad Gita. So that sutra is to have the real understanding. and explain all the different verses in terms of that understanding and in terms of that thread of understanding. There, so all of these Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra, there's a thread that goes through them, and it's only provided by someone who has that thread, and which is love of Krishna, of course. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving us the thread. So Veda Vyas also give us that thread in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, because you could understand that that thread of understanding is required. But even people are commenting on Srimad Bhagavatam and saying that you don't have to worship God. What Krishna is showing us in Krishna book in the 10th canto, because we're all God, and Krishna is showing us how God likes to enjoy himself, because although he's really one, they're so crazy. They say, because God is one, sometimes he becomes a little bored being one. So he so he would like to have some interaction, because it's boring just to be God. So then he creates the material world and he comes down here. And we're all avatars, right? We've come here to enjoy. And how do we enjoy? Well, we all have a team of gopis. There are, and Krishna, we're like Krishna, and Krishna is showing us, and because Krishna, we're not realized, but Krishna is realized, and we can become realized too. And Krishna is showing us that when we become realized, we can all have all the sex we like. We can have hundreds of female partners and dance with them. So even though these explanations are given for what is the absolute truth, Om Namo Bhagavate Va, that the absolute truth is given, this definition of the absolute truth is given in the Vedanta Sutra as Janma Diyasya Jataha. It means the source of a whole material manifestation. The source of the whole creation of the world. That's the definition of the absolute truth. And it says that the son of Vasudeva in this verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the son of Vasudeva, Janma Diyasya Jata, is the source of the whole creation. They're explaining that Krishna he's not, that we're not Krishna, but that we're his tiny parts and parcels who are an illusion, but he's never an illusion. And even the great demigods, they can't understand him, but they recognize him. So anyway, so here we are. So therefore, in this prayer, the author, the first proposition is that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord. And if any transcendental nomenclature or name has to be understood of the absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name as indicated by Krishna, the all-attractive, the son of Vasudeva. In the Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord has affirmed himself as the original personality of Godhead. And it's confirmed by Arjuna. What does Arjuna say? When Krishna shows Arjuna his universal form. Yeah, so if these rascals say that we're all God, you can say, okay, show me your universal form. Anyway, when Arjuna sees Krishna's universal form, he says, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Parusham, Shashwatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhum. Okay, Param Brahma, you're the supreme absolute truth. Param Dhamma, you're the supreme abode that we all want to go to. You're the container of everything. Pavitram, you're the supreme pure. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. It is Supreme Being. Parusham, you're the enjoyer. Shashwatam, I don't know what it is. Divyam, you're completely transcendental to the material creation. Adidevam, there's so many devas, but you're the Adidev, you're the God of gods. Adidev, Ajam Vibhum. So they so that we have to understand. So Srila Prabhupada put so much emphasis on this understanding and trying, that's how we recognize Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Saraswati Devi. You're the servant of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauravani, you're preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya to these Western worlds. Gauravani Pracharine, preaching the message of Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Gauravani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, that this world, this Western world, is so filled with impersonal Mayavadi philosophy, and you are smashing this idea that we're all God and we don't have to worship God and we can jump in bed with as many people as we want because this is what Krishna is teaching us how to do. He says, so we're Nirvisheshan Paschatya Desha Tari, that to these Western countries, you're spreading this message that God is very beautiful, and you're smashing this idea of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, that the absolute truth is impersonal, and the material, the whole material creation is an illusion. It doesn't exist. We're all God. So they're all God. And when material nature says it's time to go to the bathroom, they all have to go. That's how much they're God. So, so anyway, it's all nonsense. But Srila Prabhupada, but it's so pervasive. It's so pervasive. Hey, even the Christians have the same thing. It's not to Jesus that you have to surrender. Yeah, forget that. It's to the Christ quality that's in your own heart. You're the Christ. So anyway, now it's 7:30, and would you like to add some or subtract or anything? Feel free.
No, everything's great so far. No questions, no comments.
So then, I think I got a day ahead in front of me too. And
Okay.
What time is it there now?
I've got 5:30 p.m. and I think Sumagiri has 3:30 probably, 2 hours behind.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's you and me, Prabhu.
Not at all. Sumagiri is here. He's not able to watch his video because the shop is listening. So yeah, thank you so much. And like I said, don't feel Hare.
Customers are here.
He heard his name.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so Tuesday again, same time.
Okay.
No
Okay.
problem. But
All
don't
right.
feel that you have to read Srimad Bhagavatam, please. I mean, you can if whatever your heart pulls you to. That's
Between
where.
you, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I shouldn't
Go
interrupt. I
on.
just these books are so perfect, You read a sentence and you can from there, and they're all saying the same thing, with different levels of confidential information. Because, like Bhagavad Gita, we should love God. That's the bottom line. Sarva Dharman Paritya. You give up all these ideas of being a good person, a moral person. Of course, there are guidelines for us to be devoted. But the most basic thing, to open our hearts and cultivate feelings of love for Krishna. Okay, that's a nice idea, but what is love of Krishna? Well, Srimad Bhagavatam talks about, it shows us. Krishna book, 10th canto, shows us what love of Krishna is, and then how to cultivate it, and in very, very Lord Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that it's all the same, but the level of elucidation. What is this love of Krishna? Like Lord Chaitanya is the embodiment of ecstatic love of Krishna, and it's described in so much detail, his heartfelt feelings, and Srila Rupa Goswami writes, "May that Lord who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi be transcendently situated in the innermost chamber of your heart." That we should, transcendently situated means living, that we should have a picture of Lord Chaitanya singing and dancing in ecstasy. We should hold that in our heart. He's appeared in this age of Kali by his causeless mercy in order to share with us this loving feeling that Srimati Radharani has for Krishna. And so that we can become infected with those feelings. So it's the same, whether it's Bhagavad Gita or Chaitanya Charitamrita, the conclusion is the same, but there's so much more to this. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is ABC, basic, and that, but bringing it all into focus, and what does it look like, this love of God? 10th canto tells us what it looks like, and Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us in a more touching, more beautiful, it's all beautiful, of course. Hare Krishna.
I think you gave us some strong magnetic pull to read Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. That's how we become. That's how, yeah, yeah. He wherever he would go, yeah, Lord Chaitanya, and that the people, and that's very, very important, how he taught. You know how he taught? He taught how to love Krishna by loving Krishna and letting other people be in his presence. And there are quotes upon quotes upon quotes, and that he would sprinkle it and shower everyone with this. And when the people saw him, their hearts would be so moved with feelings of love for Krishna.
Yeah.
And that's wherever he went, he would, and that's the way that Krishna consciousness is spread. And now we learn that, so Srila Prabhupada says there's two kinds in Chaitanya Charitamrita. They say, well, but he was here 500 years ago. How do we catch this today? And he says, Srila Prabhupada says, there's two kinds of spiritual masters. One of them gives us philosophy, conception, like Bhagavad Gita. The other spiritual master is feeling this ecstatic love of Krishna within his heart. He's in meditation, unbreakable like that. And he shares his presence with us. So he says he says there's objective instruction, concepts, philosophy, and subjective instruction, that you feel what he's feeling. And that's how he teaches us. So then he says, but Lord Chaitanya, it was 500 years ago. How am I supposed to? He said, through the disciplic succession, that Lord Chaitanya was singing in ecstasy, and those who heard him got the feeling. And he says that singing in ecstasy has come down through. You can hear the chanting of Lord Chaitanya through the disciplics. You can hear Srila Prabhupada, that Lord Chaitanya, it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya put into the hearts of some of his pure devotees so much of his own feeling of love for Krishna that it's not different being in. So then we have to learn how to have an intimate relationship with Srila Prabhupada in order that we can understand his love for Krishna. Isn't that something? That is a Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayer. I offer you all respects, my spiritual master. This is in our songbook, so that I can begin to understand you correctly. And then by chanting the holy name in great ecstasy, then my offenses will cease. That when I understand what you're feeling, I can begin to chant. So this is subjective instruction coming from Lord Chaitanya through the disciplic succession. That's a big jump from reading Bhagavad Gita. He said, give up all varieties of religion and just open your heart to me, and surely you'll come to me. But how to do that? So we have to have a very personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada. It's not a reader's manual. No, not a user's manual approach that, you get a new toaster or a blender or whatever, new computer car. He says, you don't need any relationship with the man who wrote the manual. You just follow the instructions like a checklist and you get the result. The toaster works. You get toast. But it's not like that in Krishna consciousness. It's not a user's manual. It's an apprenticeship program. You're working under the guidance and in the association of the pure devotee, under the guidance of the pure devotee, as an apprentice. And what's he teaching you as an apprentice? Are you an apprentice bricklayer? Are you learning how to lay bricks? Are you learning electricity or plumbing? He's teaching you how to love. He's teaching you how to love. He's sharing his heart with you. You know how he says we sing every morning?
Prema Bhakti.
Yeah. Prema Bhakti Ahoite Avidya Vinashayate. That this love comes from him like emanates. Just like sunshine emanates from the sun. Eh? And if we get it, that emanation, what will happen? Avidya vinashaya. Then our love for all this other stuff will evaporate. Our material desires. And that's how our ignorance is destroyed. So whether it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita or the prayers of Narottam Das Thakur or Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they're all saying the same thing. We need to have a very intimate personal relationship with someone that's Diksha. That from his heart, this love of Krishna comes into our heart. Yeah. So we have to, how do we open the door that we can feel his presence? He's our teacher. How do we open the door so we can feel his presence? We have to learn how to love him. How do we learn to love him? And when we love him, he reveals himself to us. You can feel his presence. He's as good as the all-pervasive super soul. That's in the 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Your goodness is, you're just like the Narada Muni. Srila Vyasadeva is speaking to Narada Muni he says, you're as good as the all-pervasive super soul. You know what's needed in my heart, and so that I can have full satisfaction. So he prays to him. So we pray. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, every chapter ends that Krishna Das Kaviraj is taking Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami as his teachers, as his spiritual master. And he's saying, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath. He's praying at the lotus feet of his spiritual master. Always desiring their mercy. He's always begging for, let me have this understanding of what is this Krishna consciousness. I engage in writing this Chaitanya Charitamrita. We engage in doing our Krishna conscience. Following in their footsteps, that's Prabhupada Nuga. It means Prabhupada Nuga means to follow the internal feelings in the heart of our spiritual master. That is a Nuga. That's what a Nuga means. And that's how it works. As Srila Prabhupada says, he talks about mechanically chanting Hare Krishna. I have one quote. I collect quotes because you can't just talk. No, it's dangerous. The people will doubt what you're saying. He says, if you're just chanting mechanically and you don't have this feeling that you're getting from someone who's qualified to share it with you, there's an apprenticeship program. He said, it will give you feeling, what does he say? He had specific words. He said, I can't remember exact word, but the idea is that our material anxiety or stress and dissatisfaction, there he said mitigation. There will be a mitigation of superfluous, unwanted miseries of material existence. that chanting the holy name is so powerful that it'll take away our anxiety. But he says, but it won't reawaken our dormant feelings of love for God, for Krishna. It will mitigate our material anxieties, but it won't invoke or wake up our dormant feeling. The only way to wake up the dormant feeling of love of God is to catch it from someone who has that feeling. That's why in the first canto, 5th chapter, 25th verse, in the purport, the first sentence is that pure devotion is as infectious, in a good sense, like an infectious disease. You catch it from somebody who has it. You get that. He says infection in that purport of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste. You drink the taste of devotion in his association. That means we need to, so Srila Prabhupada says we must have he uses words like this, intimate connection with our spiritual life. He used another purport, he said, another lecture, he said, thick. We need a very thick relationship with him. Intimate and thick. And in 10th canto, intimate, thick, and heart to heart. No, we got to have, so how do we get that? We work on it. We work on it. You sit in front of Srila Prabhupada's murti or picture and you chant, not just I have this duty chanting Hare Krishna. No, you chant for his pleasure. You try and please him. And when you do this every day, you start to feel that he's really there. He reveals that to you. It's free. It costs nothing. And it's just totally up to us. And then he began to share his joy and enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness with us. We begin to feel his joy. And that becomes the basis of our Krishna consciousness. And that we do as a service to him. And when he sees that we're learning from him, he gets more pleased and he shares more with us. That's why we need a pure devotee as a spiritual master. That's why all these other people, dumpster, dumpster. And nonsense. It's nonsense. It means they don't understand the basic philosophy. Everything I'm talking is philosophy. It's in our books, but they're not ready. So, no. Yeah, well, I'm not ready either. But these are wonderful. Even I can't do it. At least let's consider it. And at first, the mind, the functions of the mind, thinking, feeling, willing. That I think, oh, there's ice cream in the fridge, right? Remembering the feeling, the taste, thinking, feeling, and then willing, I'm going to get it. we're on the way to the fridge. So it's the same thing in our spiritual life. First, let's really understand, have a sense of, what do they call it? GPS, that machine, digital. It gives us the sense of direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's GPS for how to become a devotee, right? That's what we need. So let's even if we only can't think, how can I develop this closeness with this pure devotee who's like he's the external manifestation of the all-pervasive super soul. He can have a personal relationship with all. Krishna empowers him to take that role. Shakti Aveshavatara, that Krishna appears before us in the form of his pure devotee who's empowered to take that role, you know. So even, but if we begin to think about it, then the desire will arise, gradually form in our heart. And then we'll, as we desire to know, then, and he says, praying at their lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring. See, then the question begins. Then it's, please give me, please give me. But so there's asking for this. It came from, first we have to understand that this is the only way to go. Then we start asking for it. Then, and as we ask for it, it becomes revealed. So it's a tremendous step forward just to understand these things, you know. Yeah. It may take a little while, but at least we have the GPS.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. Like if I can have 5 minutes a day, or where when am I, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when, oh, you have this taste of chanting the holy name, you're always in ecstasy. When will I always be connected with you until the end of time? When will I hold your feet till, when will that day? He said, you know, this is the way to become a devotee. But so even if we can have, if we start to have little bits of that feeling, then we'll say, well, when will I be able to stay in that position? That's why he writes like that, to teach us that, yeah, it's, so first understand, then reach out, pray, then have a little taste, then say, oh, it's so nice. When will I be able to live like that? That step. So, but the first step is, at least let's understand that this is the way to go, that the lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which we can get this kind of pure devotional taste. I bow down to his feet with great awe and reverence. From him does the love of Krishna emanate. And if I can catch it, my ignorance is destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. It's in the books. It's in our prayers. It's jumping off the page. So you know, I talk about it because I would like to live that, be that way too.
Yeah.
And we talk about it with each other. And try to understand this is not that if I do the checklist, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I did this morning, I did this, that one day the bolt of lightning comes from the spiritual world and I'm realized. Doesn't work that way. It's cultivating a personal relationship with someone who has love of Krishna, who has come from the spiritual world, and he shares his heart with us. Diksha. Diksha.
Right.
So it's not what Srila Prabhupada uses the word formula. He said, following these formulas, it's not going to work. But they're preaching like that. They're teaching like that. You do this and you do this, you do this, and one day. It doesn't work that way. So anyway, it's very beautiful things even to think about, even to talk about. It's in everything. If you join the army, if you join a workforce, if you join a corporation, if you join there's an orientation program, a sense of direction. So that's what we're talking about. It's a sense of direction. And even if we think, boy, I'm so far from that, but then we begin to like it and wish to have it, it'll start. It'll start. Yeah. Okay. All right, Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Ishan Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much for your wonderful association, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare
Look
Krishna.
forward to seeing you on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Take care.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Thank you for letting me spend some time with you. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for giving us your time. Hare Krishna.